How's it going, everyone? I'm Brett, co-founder and CTO of BevLive, and I am here today. That's right, this Friday afternoon, evening, depending on where you are, with the man, the myth, the legend, Bjorn, founder and CEO of BevLive. What's going on, Bjorn?
Doing pretty good this evening. How could I not be good if I got some really nice wine next to
Okay,
me?
what do we got
Uh,
here? Tell me.
so we got actually something that we have on BevLive right now, which is the Punta de los Olas Joven
Oh yeah. Okay.
and the Punta de los Olas Crianza from Ribera del Duero, probably my favorite Spanish wine region.
Nice.
So yeah, to answer your question, I'm good.
Okay. I know. So I know for sure. What's the difference between the two? Because I'm a novice wine drinker here. The titles sound similar. I know they're different. There was a key word, at the end there. So what is the difference between those two wines?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. The key difference is not just the color of the label.
Right.
So it says over here, Hoven, which means young.
Okay.
Um,
Young.
young. And then Crianza over here. And so what the Spanish do is they classify their wines based on how long a wine is in barrel and how long
Oh,
it has been after it's been released. So
nice.
with the young wine, as the name suggests, it's a younger wine. So these wines are not allowed to spend more than 12 months in barrel. And
Really?
released
Okay.
shortly after. So they can see some some time in the barrel or not. It's up to the winemaker to decide. And then it's being released. So hence the name young. So it's like, you want these wines to be, and this wine really is like, you want them to be exciting, fresh, with nice fruit characters. And this is just a great example of that. Then with the Crianza, so with these wines, you have to have the wines in barrel for at least 12 months. And then you have to wait until they can get released. So the rule is, let me see if I can get this right. They have to be released not earlier than the 1st of October, 2 years after the harvest.
Wow. So they're bottled and then reserved for that 2 years later. Is that what happens?
Well, they're in barrel for some time, so you have to have them in
Oh,
barrel for 12 months. And let's say you keep them only for 12 months, then you have to
okay.
have them in bottle if you bottle them shortly after for another 12 months.
I see.
So
And
you can
is
also
that
go
12
18
months?
months in barrel, 6 months in bottle. So it's not
Oh,
that specific, but what is specific is that 1st of October release date.
very cool. So that 12 months for that older wine is not a hard cutoff, right? It's at least 12 months, and then sometime after that it'll be in the bottle. But then October for sure, 2 years later, it has to go on the market.
It doesn't have to be, but it's just a minimum
Oh, okay.
requirement. But there's also,
Oh,
you can then also go into reservoir where you keep it even longer in barrel. So there's other ways. I mean, you can technically put it in barrel for a year and then keep it in bottle for 2 years. That's completely up for the winery to decide.
that is great. So I like that you mentioned that, because when I started, and I think they might have been maybe in my introductory, since they're on BevLive.com, right? Two Spanish wines, and not that I've never had a Spanish wine before. That's not the case, but I never realized how technical, the terms were, and how much, I guess, government legislation got involved
Well,
in
how much
certain
legalities
rules.
that there are, and you need to think about it
Yes.
this way too, is areas like appellations. We talked about appellations the other day, and those appellations are not coincidental. I mean, it's often that wineries get together and decide, hey, our wine is really special. It's different from everything else in the area. We should not be under this huge appellation. We're going to form our own appellation. And this is pretty much exactly what happened in Ribera, like some 40, 50 years ago, where they had been making wine in that area for, I think, 2,500 years. Yeah, seriously.
Wine's that all the way.
But like I think it was in the 70s where they decided, oh, wine is special, so they all got together and went to the government. This is kind of to your point of it being somewhat political. They go to the government and you put a proposal forward. It takes time. They say we should be our own area. We are special, and this is why. And that's what Ribera del Duero did. And now the wines, it's mainly small production. They have their own laws. They have their own regulations. So if you don't go by those regulations, even if you make wine in that area, you cannot label your wine Ribera del Duero.
Wow.
So yeah, it's pretty cool.
And since like you were saying, some families have been making that wine forever. It seems like the winery with those beautiful bottles you just displayed there, are they kind of a family run, passed down through the generations, similar story?
Most of them are. Most of the families in Ribera del Duero passed on from generation to generation. In this case, it's actually a little bit of a secret. It's because it's somebody making a brand together with a winery. So it's somewhat of a secret, like which the actual winery is. So it's kind of cool.
That is. That's wild.
And that gets into being again more technical into how the wine world works. That when you buy a bottle of wine, it's not necessarily always obvious who makes that wine, and that's kind of cool because for these merchants out there, they go out and team up with some wineries, and they buy basically part of their production and put the wine on the market much less expensive than what the winery puts their wines on the market. And that's why certain things need to be kept a secret. That's why sometimes in the wine world you can find really great bargains if you know what to buy. And I can tell you this: these are special wines. These are really good wines at a super affordable price point. Like the Crianza here, $15.99 for an amazing red wine in barrel for over 12 months. Great structure. Absolutely crazy.
Well, yeah. I remember when we sampled that, and I will say that it does not. It drinks way better than $15.99 that you would expect to get in the U.S. At a grocery store shelf or something.
So this is $19.99 on BevLive. This one actually is that $15.99, I think.
And and as always, right? Free shipping. Hey, reminder too. We ship nationally, so.
As
long as we can get to your state, hey, we're there for you.
Got to put in those orders. These are really special wines. Another thing to mention too is with regulations, you have to have in Ribera del Duero, you have to have a certain percentage of Tempranillo, which is for those who are not familiar, Tempranillo is a grape in the wine. And I think it's 75%. So you have to have a 75% of Tempranillo in the wine to be called a Ribera del Duero. These are 100%, but you have some play. You can put some Cabernet Sauvignon in it, some Shiraz, whatever you decide. But you have to go by what the government basically decided.
Well, I like that approach, Bjorn, and you know why? Is because it gives you sort of that attention to detail, that history of tradition, but also the flexibility to play around with new styles. Because that's one of the I won't say complaints, but the critiques I've heard of like German beer, for instance, and I'm sure you know this better than anyone. There's such a strong, hold to tradition there that it's almost hard to do anything outside the norm.
Well, I don't know. I think go either way. I just talked to somebody actually,
really?
a German brewmaster who very much supports it. So I think there's I guess there's like everything, two sides to every coin.
Sure. But I guess to be clear, if I'm in Germany, I'm not going to find all these wild styles of craft beer on every street corner. It seems like, okay.
That's true. Right. That's why this country is so great for beer, because you're going to find everything. I can say that I'm a German, so You
heard it from the German.
All my German friends who are listening, I'm not going to take offense. So.
They're unsubscribing from the Instagram as we speak. No, I'm kidding. But speaking of Spain, I think of I went to Barcelona years ago, probably more than 20 years ago at this point for the first time, and I had a blast. I was a teenager at that point, but I did get to sample the wines because they don't have the same rules and restrictions that we do here in the U.S. And I can tell you that one of the interesting things that I experienced was the wine, even just the most basic table wines. You gotta at the restaurant or the corner store. I think they filled up a big, like 2 liter bottle for €5 coin that I threw. It was just, but the quality was insane. I couldn't believe it. It's not labeled, and I like the fact that you mentioned you may not know what winery it's coming from, and that gives, I think, eliminates the potential of bias for the consumer too. So it allows the style to speak for itself without all kind of marketing and things influencing your taste before you even open the bottle.
Yeah, no, I agree. And there are some great values to be had in many European countries, including Spain. The cost of production is just a whole lot lower than what you would mostly find here in the US. So you can actually go into a supermarket and buy wines for like a few euros that are pretty decent. And I think that's what makes these wines these wines so special.
Yeah.
Like for $20. I mean, and 12 months in barrel. So, obviously, yes, I love our domestic products. I love California, Washington State, and so on, New York State, et cetera, et cetera. But, when it comes to value, international wineries bring forward like some really, really interesting products. So, yeah, like I said, I think these wines are, amazing for anybody to try. Have the Hoven as you're basically preparing the barbecue next to the barbecue, and have the Crianza as you're eating a barbecue. Or have this during the week and have this on the weekend. Can't go. I mean, you really can't go wrong. I mean, the thing too is with these wines is that they are not overpowering. I mean, it's in that area you have some wines sometimes that get very powerful, high in alcohol, very extracted. Whereas these wines are they're powerful. Yes, they have like 14 and 14.5% alcohol, but there's still some elegance in there. There's still some silkiness in there. That what makes them something that everybody will enjoy. So with the Hoven, with the Young, you're going to get like a more fresh wine. And when I say fresh, that's wineries talk about acidity. A vibrant wine that is just going to make all of your guests happy. And whereas with the Crianza, you're going to get mainly through the use of oak barrels, you're going to get just more structure into that wine, and there's just a lot going on with the Crianza. So,
I think
I'm a big fan.
I think you've sold me because they're sophisticated wines, they're easy to drink, but they're not overpowering. Still lots of character. I mean, that is perfect for. It's no wonder the Spanish tapas has taken such a hold, in recent years in the USA, especially. Mix and match your food and enjoy the wine, and don't let it clash.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I mean, I'm a big top fan, by the way. So yeah, for sure.
Well, I think that's a good place to close it, because now I think I got to go light up the grill and enjoy that.
All right, well, to close with that, check these out. I'm not doing a good job at holding them, but I'm going to try. But
that's
try
right.
to do a little bit better. $15.99, $19.99, free shipping if you just buy a few bottles. Ship pretty much anywhere across the country. So
it's BevLive.com. You know where to go. Hit the shop link, and the rest is history.
All right, well, everybody, thanks so much for listening on a Friday evening, and we'll see you next week.
That's it. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.